Hello, welcome to Jackrabbit Journal. If a tree falls in the woods and there's no one there to hear it, does it still make a sound? Yes. If you lose twice in one season to your biggest rival, can you still bounce back and make a run at a bigger prize when March rolls around? Also a yes, and that is the situation the Jackrabbit women are in this week. The Jacks bumming a little bit this week, or maybe they're over it by now, after that loss at South Dakota on Saturday, the second time this season that the Coyotes have come away with a 5-point win. AJ says it was a combination of mental mistakes and foul trouble and occasional poor shooting and a very good opponent that all added up to an 80-75 USD win. The Jacks scored 32 points in the fourth quarter. They had a comeback, cut a 9-point lead down to 1 with 30 seconds to play, but could not get a game-tying 3 by Macy Miller to go down on the last possession. Jackrabbits led by sophomore Ellie Thompson with 21 points and freshman Maddie Hebert with 18. But there were some defensive breakdowns, not enough offense in the first 3 quarters, and we will talk about all that with head coach Johnston coming up in a little bit. As for the Jackrabbit men, good news is they get a split on the road. The bad news is they miss a chance to beat the league leader. The Jacks get a 20-point win at Western Illinois on Saturday, but that comes after a 12-point loss at first place Fort Wayne on Thursday. Jacks get beat on the boards in that game. They give up too many second chance points to the team that has proven to be the team to beat right now as we head into the Summer League tournament. We will not talk about any of that with Coach Scott Nagy. He is looking at the next game and the next game only and no further. But we will talk about what makes Fort Wayne so tough to beat right now, why the Jacks are killing it at the free throw line right now, and why it's going to be a grind against the Bison at home on Thursday. Scott Nagy coming up next.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. The SDSU men are having a great season, 21 wins already. This is another team that could get to another NCAA tournament. Perfection, though, is unattainable, but that does not keep head coach Scott Nagy from trying. Here is the coach on the win at Western Illinois and the loss at Fort Wayne last week. All right, Scott, normally a split on the road in the Summit League is a pretty good deal, but go back to the Fort Wayne game last week. Is that one you could have got, or was Fort Wayne just very, very good that night? What happened?
Well, Fort Wayne's good. Yeah. They're very good. But all of the, what you call the 50-50 plays, particularly in the first half, there were several loose balls that we just didn't get that we should have gotten. And then, we played good enough defense to win the game, but we just couldn't get any rebounds that we needed to get. We gave them 2, 3, 4 shots. I mean, you're just not going to beat a team. It doesn't matter who it is, but they're so good offensively that you have to be able to get the first shot. And, they're a good rebound team. They lead the league in rebounding. And we just, they just beat us up physically, and we didn't deserve to win that game.
But was that bounces, or was that effort, or a little bit of both on the rebounds?
Oh, it wasn't bounces. It was effort.
All right. John Conchar's really good. We know about him and Landis, but they had 2 other guys with Calder and that kid off the bench, Stewart, that also played very well in that game. It's not just Landis and Conchar for Fort Wayne, right?
No, they have a lot of very good offensive players, and the problem is you have to focus so much on those 2 guys, Conchar and Landis, that it does create opportunities for the other people. And that's the way it is on every team, I think, and it is on our team too. So, but you just, with a good offense team, you can't give them as many shots as we gave them, and I mean, you just don't deserve to win basketball games when the other team just plays that much harder than you.
All right, come back Saturday at Western Illinois, beat them by 21 on the boards, 33 out of 37 at the free throw line. I mean, you did a lot of good things in that game to win by 20, didn't you?
Yeah, and mostly it was good defense. We were from the start very locked in defensively. I thought we made things very difficult for Covington, and the leading scorers on every team are probably going to get their points. The question is, how many shots do you make them take?
A lot of shots.
How efficient are you going to allow them to be? Can you keep them off the free throw line? Those kind of things. I thought that we made him work very, very hard for his shots. we really rebounded the basketball well. I think they shot 28% in the first half and only had 2 offensive rebounds. Plus we had offensive rebounds. So it was more businesslike. I think when you lose, it makes you focus, and our kids were, there wasn't a lot of emotion involved in it. It was just, we know what we need to do, and we did it.
And you're making almost everything at the free throw line, 33 out of 37, and there's nothing to point to why you're shooting so well at the free throw line, is there? Is that just how it happens in some games?
Yeah, and I don't know why we went through the stretch where we were so poor from the free throw line, but we are back to what I would expect our team to shoot. And, it's we got to the line. And I think the more you get to the line, too, probably the better you're going to shoot from the free throw line because you get comfortable there. DeAndre shot 8 free throws. I don't know if he's done that all year, but that's where he should be. And so, but the more you get there, I mean, if you only get there and shoot 2 a game, and if you make 1, you shoot 50%. But if you can get there 8 times, then there's a pretty good chance that you're going to shoot a better percentage.
All right, still some work left in the regular season with North Dakota State coming here. There's nothing that really stands out about them, is there, that makes them so good? But why are they so tough to play?
They're I think the best defensive team in the league. Efficiency-wise, they don't foul a lot. They make you shoot the ball from the perimeter, and just very well coached. They're incredibly patient offensively and work very hard to get good shots. And so, it just is. It's not a team that is ever going to get blown out. Yeah. And if they're playing well offensively, then they can blow you out.
All right. I know you don't want to talk about seeding for the tournament or anything like that. You're not even looking past Thursday right now, are you?
No, and I don't pay attention to these tiebreakers and those tiebreakers, and it's because it doesn't matter. All that matters is getting our kids ready to play on Thursday, and that other stuff we can't control. And so I don't want to spend any time looking at that stuff.
And not sure yet if Keaton Moffitt is going to play on Thursday against North Dakota State. Moffitt was injured in the game at Fort Wayne. He did not play at Western Illinois on Saturday. Coming up next, good interview sesh with women's head coach Erin Johnston. No time to dwell on the loss at USD with 2 more tough games coming up this weekend to finish up the regular season.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. The Jackrabbit women are in Indianapolis as we speak. They have a very tough game at IUPUI on Thursday, and then another one test at Western Illinois on Saturday. The Jacks are still stinging a little bit after that loss to South Dakota. Here is Coach Johnston on how the Yotes came out on top in that one and how the Jacks have to recover quickly. All right, AJ, those Coyotes, it's a good team. They were they got the lead in the second half and were just kind of able to hold you off. Not even arm's length, but just enough. What happened in that second half?
Well, I thought their offense was better than our defense. I mean, that was the clear part of the game. Our offense really picked up late in the game, but I thought throughout the first 3 quarters we were just hanging in there. We weren't great offensively. We had a couple misses late, a couple threes in and out. We had layup that probably makeable, and that's where they got their little 11-point lead. I just really disappointed our defense. That was probably as poor as we played all year. We had some mental mistakes. We gave them just some uncontested, easy layups because of breakdowns, not because of great execution, just us being in the wrong spot. And had we been in the right spot, certainly still could have scored. They're good enough offensively to score on any team in our league. But the frustrating part is we didn't play up to our potential defensively. So that'd be something we'll really have to think about here going forward and live with, but also be motivated by.
Yeah, look at their shot chart, and there was a lot of stuff just 3 feet away right in front of the basket, wasn't there?
Yeah, 2 areas. Their 4s and 5s, they were just better than our 4s and 5s. They just absolutely were. Whether it's around the basket, Stewart getting loose for a couple threes, a couple of jumpers, and then guarding penetration. We really just struggled. So, it's not a post issue or guard issue. I can look at both sides of that and really feel like we weren't at our best. We didn't handle dribble penetration. We just didn't handle them inside, and that was really disappointing. I don't think we really rose to that challenge. So I thought we didn't play well enough to win, and the result probably reflected that.
And still, in these games, 2 5-point games. There's all these little things that aren't huge runs, that aren't outstanding things during the game that all add up. Little loose balls, second possessions, things like that just add up in these games against the Coyotes, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And I think we have a few people on our team. I don't think they know what the floor feels like. I don't think they've ever gotten on the floor for a loose ball and it showed up in that game. We have a couple that do, but a couple that are reachers, and trying to get them to be a little more assertive in those plays, as you mentioned, or a couple breakdowns. If our defense is hanging in there, but then you give up 3-4 buckets in a 4-minute stretch because of breakdowns, it really kind of makes it tough for your defense. So, we just didn't get it done in that game. But, late, I thought our offense finally broke loose a little bit. You saw some of our normal movement and ball movement, spacing, those kind of plays, attacking a little bit more. But it almost came out of urgency rather than setting that tone at the beginning. So we'll try and address that here as we go forward here because we got a couple more big games and we go into March. So.
And I thought you had a freshman, Hebert, and a senior, Gabby Boever, that played very well in that game, though.
Those two played a lot of toughness. I really do. I think we had some areas we could be better, but they played with probably as much confidence, as much toughness as anybody. Gabby got some offensive rebounds for us, some tough kind of plays. She always seems to hit big shots. She hit a big 3 for us there when we really needed a shot to go in. Maddie obviously had some big shots for us too. So, really good to see from her. I thought she rose to the occasion. Ellie, I thought offensively played really well. We needed more from our entire post group defensively, but she did some nice things offensively she can build on too.
So do you tip your hat to the Coyotes and say, we'll see you in a couple of weeks here, or how do you got to look at this?
Well, I don't think we really worry about a couple of weeks. Honestly, we don't. I just never have really bought into that 2-team race or, it's going to be a showdown in March. No one knows what the heck is going to happen this Thursday for teams, let alone once we get into March. So we certainly tip our hat in that game. They were better than we were in that game, and a lot of seniors, a lot of players that know what they want to get done, and they look like it. So that's a credit to them. But there's things we can be better at, too. And that's where we'll kind of get back at it here today and this week and really try and be a better team and play to the level we should be at.
And as you said, at IUPUI Thursday, a team that you beat in double overtime here, right? I mean, this is not an easy road trip with Western Illinois after that.
No, this is a tough trip. Probably as good as any trip in the league in terms of competition in both nights. Both nights are capable of being a win for us, also a loss because of the teams we play, and really different styles. So you can't go into the week and think, well, let's do this for 2 games and we'll be successful, because they're really completely different styles. Western will spread you out and has the ability to make 15, 16 threes in a game if you don't defend them. IUPUI really takes that ball and just jams it at you in the paint with Rogers and penetration. So we really have to have 2 different plans. But ultimately, we've got to play at a high level. That's the goal. Not only for this weekend, but what we want to do afterwards. We've got to get ourselves going here. And we've played well all year, but we need to be a little better than we were this past weekend.
Is there a little dip right now? I mean, you go back to the Denver game. Have you had a game where you missed 15 shots in a row ever that you remember?
Oh, probably.
Have you? All
After
right,
16 years, I'm guessing, yes,
right.
we probably have. But you're right. I wouldn't call that a dip because you're still getting the shots you want. Sometimes they don't go in. I thought at USD, we had some shots that are very makeable shots. They didn't go in. You can't really do much about that. But some of the mental errors. We had probably 4 or 5 sets down in Vermilion that we were in. That are things we've run all year, and we just seemed unsure about what we were doing. That's the mental part that we need to get better with. We had some mental breakdowns defensively. Those are the areas where you just can't have it this time of year. And you don't want to say people have to play perfect, but you have to play close to mistake-free. You can't make the mental mistakes. And then sometimes shots go in, sometimes they don't. But you don't want to have things that you can control. You don't want to fall short in that area.
Well, up next, Gabby and Chloe. Sounds like a nice little sitcom, doesn't it? They are the South Dakota State seniors, and they are the beast off the bench this year. Their story coming up next.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. There are just 2 seniors on the SDSU women's basketball team, one from Minnesota, one from South Dakota. They are both from big, athletic Jackrabbit families. Both have set aside ego to be the best they can be off the bench this year. Here is David Brown with more on Gabby Boever and Chloe Cornemann.
There's no one happier to be back on the court this season than Gabby Boever. The 6th-year senior thought her career was over when she suffered a knee injury and missed all of last season. But after getting a medical hardship exemption, she's been her same old defensive self.
I'm not necessarily the best scorer, but I can be the most aggressive defender, and I can defend the best player on the opposite team, so being a defender and, getting all those steals and stuff, I think helps bring our energy up as a team, and it gets us motivated.
She has some of the best hands I think I've ever been around as a coach in terms of getting into a passing lane or getting after somebody on the dribble. Just such lightning quick hands, great anticipation. So when she's on the floor, we definitely think we're a better defensive team.
As for SDSU's other senior, Chloe Cornemann is just happy she didn't have to carry the leadership torch alone this season.
I'm just glad that Gabby got the chance to stay, so we had at least 2 and not just 1. I think that would have been a lot of responsibility on myself. It just helps to have a couple, at least 2, to kind of divvy up those responsibilities between the team.
Chloe and Gabby are good friends. They've been around each other for a long time. Their sisters played here, so they've known each other's families for a long time. They've been really good seniors for us, and we're lucky to have both of them.
Aaron Johnston is also lucky that both of them have accepted their roles as bench players, providing some solidarity to a mostly young team throughout the year. While it was nothing new for Cornemann, Boever had to adjust after starting her entire sophomore and junior seasons.
I've definitely embraced it. It was hard for me at first, especially since I'm playing the 4 now. I have never played anything other than the point guard my entire life.
That's what you do when you're a part of a team, and that's what SDSU is really good about. It's not about one certain player; it's about all 14 of us doing our part. So we accept that role and we do what the team needs, really.
Well, from the oldest to the youngest, coming up next, 10 questions with Jackrabbit freshman Maddie Hebert in the Rapid Fire interview.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Maddie Hebert is a true freshman from Apple Valley, Minnesota. She was the high school player of the year and Minnesota Miss Basketball last year, and she is in this week's Rapid Fire interview with David Brown.
All right, question number 1. I'm from Apple Valley, you're from Apple Valley. What's your favorite part of AV?
Favorite part of Apple Valley? When I was younger, it had to have been the water park. But I don't know, as I've gotten older, I could probably go down to the little downtown area where there's like Dairy Queen and all the little food areas. I could probably
Raising Cane's and things like that.
Yeah, I could go down to that area, little downtown area, every day and find something to do, or I love to eat, so I think probably the little downtown area with all the different food places is probably my favorite right now.
All right, your mom played locally here in South Dakota at Augustana College. She is still the school's all-time leading scorer. So right now, present day, who would win one-on-one between you and your mom?
Me, for sure. She's 50 now. She's too old. She can't keep up with me.
Probably the right answer. All right, what is the worst pronunciation you've ever heard of your last name?
Worst pronunciation of my last name. There have been some pretty bad ones, but I would have to say the worst one would probably be Guébert.
Because it kind of looks French, I guess?
Well, because one time, I've heard Guébert a lot, so I think they kind of combined the French with the weird U in there. So I thought that one was probably the worst one that I've ever heard.
What is your most prized possession?
Oh, jeez. My most prized possession? Probably my phone. I'm on my phone all the time. My mom always gets mad that I'm on it. I don't know. That's my way to connect to the world, so.
Can't survive without it?
Can't survive without it.
Which TV character, it can be either current or on an old show, but which TV character sort of best describes your personality?
Lucas Scott from One Tree Hill.
You're going with a guy?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. One Tree Hill, man, that's going way back. Well, for me, that's way back. All right, what is your guilty pleasure song?
My guilty pleasure song is Drops of Jupiter.
By Train.
Yes.
And what about that? Why would you be embarrassed to let people know you listen to Drops of Jupiter?
I don't know if embarrassed, but I think just a lot that surprises a lot of people that I listen to that kind of music.
because I just assume that with like basketball, listen to like all the like rap songs and hip hop, but Drops to Jupiter is my go-to.
Target or Walmart?
Target.
Minnesotan, of course. You choose
Oh
Target.
yeah.
What's your favorite board game?
Board game? I haven't played board games in a while, but my favorite when I was younger was Pretty Pretty Princess.
I don't know how you would play that game, but I'll take
You
it.
like spin it, you spin the wheel, and then you move your piece, and there's a bucket with like jewelry, and like each person has a color, so you have to try and get like all the jewelry, and then once you get all your jewelry, then you get the crown. And once you get the crown, then you look in the mirror and say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest princess of them all?" Then you win.
For someone who hasn't played it in a long time, you sure know a lot of details.
I know.
Who wins a game of horse among you and your teammates?
Probably Macy.
Now, to be fair, a lot of people have said you already, that you would win because you're a sharpshooter, but you would say Macy.
I think Macy would get me on all her like trick shots, to be honest.
So she's more of the trick shot person, you're more of the just natural jump shooter type.
Yeah, I would say so.
We'll take that. And then lastly, Minnesotan question. It's very important. Duck, duck, gray duck, 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 goose.
Gray duck. Duck, duck, gray duck all day, every day.
Thanks to Maddie Hebert, Jackrabbit women on the road this week, but we will have the men live on Midco this Thursday at home against North Dakota State and on Saturday against Oral Roberts. See you next week on Jackrabbit Journal.